Hello and welcome everyone to the newest series on my channel. Welcome to Top Gear Petrol Head Paradise, where it's basically like Top Gear, but in this game and in this series, we are going to be doing almost exactly the same thing they did on Top Gear, which are challenges, doing reviews on some cars of the past, present, and future. And also some of the more particularly interesting cars. And throughout this whole series, we will be diving into the history of each car, boat, motorcycle, except for aircraft, that we are going to be looking at in this series. So yeah, welcome to Petrol Head Paradise. This is the Imponte Phoenix. It first made its debut in Grand Theft Auto 3. And it is the very first car, and it was the first true muscle car to enter the Grand Theft Auto series. This thing has been one of the most loved cars throughout the Grand Theft Auto franchise. It's super, extremely powerful and loud 427 V8, pushing out over 288 horsepower and 192 pounds-feet of torque, and an overall top speed of 100 miles an hour. But this thing had trouble in the 1970s. In the 1970s, the gasoline crisis hit, of which companies like Imponte, the Class A, Ford, among others, could not afford the resources to produce high-performance sports cars like the Phoenix. But the Phoenix made it through the gasoline crisis because of its creation and its popularity. But on the inside, it's a completely different story. This thing has unfortunately been overlooked and has been left to rust, making it one of the most underrated muscle cars in the game. But the Imponte Phoenix also makes a very, very good first car for those who are wanting to come to play this game and that need a car that is fast, powerful, and it's got looks and stands out from the crowd. And if you're among them, the Imponte Phoenix is for you. So even to this day, the Imponte Phoenix is still underrated, but there are some people out there that play the game that still have this legend in their garage. Though the Imponte Phoenix has been in Grand Theft Auto 3. It's been in Grand Theft Auto 3, Liberty City Wars, Chinatown Wars, San Andreas, but not Grand Theft Auto 4. And it made its return in Grand Theft Auto 5 in the form of one of the most iconic muscle cars of the 1970s. The 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am. That's what the Phoenix resembles. But one car in the game is also overlooked, but is still one of the fastest cars in the game. The Ennis Elegy RH8. This is the very first time it has ever been featured in the Grand Theft Auto series. It closely resembles one of the most iconic Japanese cars of all time, the Nissan GTR R35. But this thing, like the GTR, has the traits of the Nissan GTR. But the Elegy has way more than you think it is. Than you think it does, in fact, let's just say. With a 4.6 liter twin turbo V6 pushing out over 580 horsepower and about 510 pound-feet of torque, and an overall top speed of 119 miles an hour, making it the 4th fastest sports car in the game. And if you wanted to get it, but if you are worrying about it being super expensive, well then don't worry, it is completely free. But the only way for you to get the Elegy is to sign up into the Rockstar Social Club, and after that it's all yours for free. You can buy it off the Legendary Motorsports website. In fact, when I first got this thing, I fell in love with it. This thing was my first car for when I first started playing Grand Theft Auto 5. Back when I was like 15 or 14 or something like that, I don't know. But anyway, the first time I bought this car, I kind of doubted its capabilities. But 3 years later, it is still one of my fastest cars. It is still one of my fastest cars. In fact, this thing is my oldest car. It is 3 years old. Yeah. But the truth is, this thing is one of the newest sports cars to come into the game, making it one of the most overlooked cars in the Grand Theft Auto franchise, because people were all like, yeah, this thing's great, but it doesn't look like it's capable of taking on other cars in a race. Well, if you think that, then you are dead wrong. This thing will satisfy your needs no matter what. If you want speed, power, looks, and sound, the Ennis Elegy RH8 has got you covered. The grip is phenomenal. Its all-wheel drive drivetrain system and its tires allow it to grip to the pavement like glue. And it's pretty much impossible to make this thing spin out. This thing is a grip monster. But if you hit a bump, the turbo will kick in, and the turbo boost will kick in, and you will go flying. And you will go sailing down the streets. the NS LG RH8 is everything that you could ever want from a sports car. Even though the Imponte Phoenix from earlier is one of the most overlooked muscle cars in the game, the NS LG RH8 is still loved by a lot of the Petrol heads and GTA Online players out there. So if you're looking for a first car for your time in Grand Theft Auto 5 and Grand Theft Auto Online, then the NS LG RH8 is for you. So at the end of the day, in terms of character, the NS LG RH8 has got a lot of character, and it's basically a car with personality. That is my overall impressions on the NS LG RH8. So at the end of the day, the NS LG RH8 is the perfect first car for any Grand Theft Auto Online player. Well, that, guys, is going to wrap it up for this first episode of Petrol at Paradise. Thank you all so much for watching, but stay tuned. But stick around, because there is going to be a lot more of this coming up in the future. So without further ado, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next episode.